Hi, I'm Jennifer Gracer, and I'm completing my mock interview for MLL 630. And interviewing me today is Richard Gracer. I'm interviewing for the position of Regional Vice President. We're going to start conducting the interview.
Hey Jennifer, this position requires a high level of autonomy. How do you manage your time?
I think with any position that requires a high level of autonomy, you have to remain very organized, very focused, and understand the importance of the facts at a very high level. And you need to rely on your team that you have to give you the important facts that you need and be able to draw those facts from what they're giving you. And if they're not giving you what you need, you yourself need to be able to drill in and focus to get to very quickly what you need, because you would be responsible for a large area and you need to understand the integral pieces of each area. So it's important, again, to remain focused and stay organized and be able to get that information quickly.
Okay. This position requires a leader with a proven track record. Please provide your proven track record as a leader.
Every position that I've held within Sodexo is an example of my proven track record. Um, every position, as far as when I worked in Arizona State University, I led a team of 10 people. In the conferencing division, I led teams that were in different states. In my current position, I'm leading a team of 8 people that are nationwide from New York to California. My teams consistently work to achieve goals. We consistently find more efficient and effective ways to do things, therefore improving our policies, our procedures, and most of all, assisting our customers. So I think overall, that is how we prove our track record and maintain our value to our customer.
Very well. How do you drive your team to succeed? Please provide examples.
Motivation and engagement of team members is something you need to do daily. It requires good communication skills, um, listening skills, and more importantly, being able to have the trust of your team. And some examples are with my team members, when they're having difficulty with something, being able to understand their situation. And a good example is that most of my team, every position that I oversee, I've at one point done throughout my career or been in. So I can easily relate to what they're going through. So it's easy for me to understand the situation, envision what's going on, so I can find what's going on, find that pain point, and then be able to find a way to motivate my team member to get the job done. And so that's kind of where I am able to engage them and be able to motivate them to move forward.
Okay. I see that you oversee staff on both coasts. How would you handle differing opinions among your team when you're trying to decide on a particular direction you need to move in on a project or in making a decision about implementing a new process or program?
Sure. Um, we actually had an example of this. We had 2 different processes going on with my East Coast team and my West Coast team, and we needed to standardize this process. So, what I decided to do was, because we had differing opinions between the East Coast and the West Coast, I had both teams set up their processes and set up the way things were being done on each coast, and actually present to each other how they were doing the processes, what makes sense, what didn't make sense. And then we decided as a team how we were going to move forward with one standardized process. What was the easiest for the team, what was the most efficient and value added. So by doing this, we ended up with a process that was efficient. We ended up with a process that made sense, And we included the team in the entire decision and the process. So it was a good learning experience for everyone.
Please describe a situation where you handled a conflict successfully.
Actually, the example that I just gave was really a good example of that, because we did have conflicting opinions of how we were going to handle this situation. And as I said, our West Coast team wanted to continue on with their processes. They saw value in that. And the East Coast team wanted to continue on with their process as they saw value in their process. So I think by including both teams in the process of the decision making and going through and proving what adds value, what's most efficient and effective. I think the communication between both teams, we were able to resolve conflict with the team in a way that made everyone come out feeling like they won something or that this was resolved successfully.
How do you handle situations when you have to make an unpopular decision?
Communication. Not all decisions are going to be a win-win situation, and I think that if you communicate well, um, you eliminate you eliminate where you may have an area of miscommunication. If you give if you give people an opportunity to ask questions, if you give people an opportunity to state how they feel and walk them through the process, I think that you're less likely to come up against people with doubt, people with fears. You can kind of walk them through the process. So I really think that unpopular decisions are really best handled with communication.
Okay. How would your coworkers describe you?
My coworkers would say that I'm honest, that I'm fair. Um, my team would say that I've been in their shoes before, so I can walk the talk because I've been there. So they would say that I'm very ethical, um, and that I'm fair, I'm honest.
Okay. What are some of your unique leadership qualities that would set you apart from the other candidates?
Um, as I said in a few questions ago, um, I've handled or I've been in every position that I currently manage. So I have empathy for um, the situations that come up with my current team members. I communicate with them. I think that empathy, communication, understanding what's going on and why it's going on, getting to the root of the cause, I think that those are very important when you're a leader. As you know, your team is coming to you and looking for answers, and they're trying to understand, why a problem is happening. I think you need to be able to understand them to walk them through the process.
What is your greatest strength in your leadership role?
The trust of my team. And I think I get the trust of my team from them knowing that I've been there, I've done that, and that I truly understand what they're going through.
Do you feel do you feel you are well prepared for a two-step promotion from director of accounting to regional vice president?
I do. I feel that I have a good balance between operational experience as well as financial experience. I've been with the company for 25 years. 10 of those years I've spent in the accounting center, and 15 of those years I've spent out in the field. So I have a good mix of financial and operational experience, which I believe would um, attribute to uh, the experience in the role as well as my experience with my education.
Okay. Are you willing to travel the approximately 50 to 60% of the time for the job?
Currently, my position, I currently with my position, I travel about 25 to 30% of the time. So this would just entail a little more travel, and yes, that wouldn't be a problem.
Client relation management and retention will be a large part of this job. What strategies have you implemented in your past positions to help further develop your relationships with your clients?
I think the best strategy that you can develop with your clients, first and foremost, is building a relationship and building a rapport with your client. I think once you build that strong relationship with your client and they know that you're working with them and you communicate well, I think that that will take you very far in your contract. That will take you very far in any kind of problem or conflict resolution you have. Um, I really think that that is key to client relations and client retention is building a client relationship and rapport.
What is the most significant change that you brought to your organization?
To my current role, it's standardization of policy and procedure across our East and West Coast. When I was asked to be director of accounting, that was priority number one was to make a standardization of accounting processes, policies, and procedures for our East Coast and our West Coast, and that currently is probably the most significant change, considering we had two different teams doing two different sets of accounting practices. So that has been my most significant change.
Okay. And finally, ultimately, which position at Sodexo do you aspire to?
Um, Ultimately, within Sodexo, Vice President of Operations, that's not to say that Sodexo is my final resting stop in my career path. I've been with Sodexo for 25 years. However, I'm still very young in life, and that's not to say that Sodexo is my final resting place. So, who knows what life will bring after Sodexo.